Welcome to United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America on WSGW. Now, here is your host, Kareem Bowen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America. We're back in the studio. I'm in the studio with John B. John, what's going on, John?
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Okay, on last week, you guys, let's bring Mark in as well. Mark, you're
I'm
here.
live in the studio.
He's actually
today.
live in the studio.
Yep.
Not only I give him his own introduction, but I wanted to bring him in because I wanted to talk really quickly. On last week, we talked, and I presented you with gifts, with alms. And I got a text message.
I didn't get one with the.
We got you for Christmas, okay?
Right.
But last week we were talking about pumpkin pie and sweet potato pie. So now John got a sweet potato pie, and he went home. I got a text message about it. But let's talk a little bit. What did you notice the difference between pumpkin pie and sweet potato pie? Was there a difference to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I've never really been a big fan of pumpkin pie, except for the kind that my grandma makes.
Okay.
And this was the first year ever that my 96-year-old great grandma didn't make homemade pumpkin pie, and it ended up getting store bought. And I was so sad, but then I'm like, well, I've got this sweet potato pie. I'll try that. It's way better. I
Way better than grandma's pie, or way better than the store pie?
It's about on par with grandma's
Be careful
pie.
about saying that.
And that was not a personal. That was one that a friend makes, and she makes them really well. So my family buys them from her. So that was not even the recipe.
Okay.
But your thoughts are that you kind of like it.
I prefer it to pumpkin pie 100%.
All day long. That's what I said.
Yep.
So Mark he's gonna get his taste for. So I guess for Christmas we're gonna line him up a good afternoon. We're recording in the afternoon. This is gonna air, of course, in the morning. To Miss Jackie Wade Day. So great. I spoke with her on yesterday. It is always amazing to speak with you and to catch up with you guys. And we gotta get these guys some Christmas gifts from some of the great things that you create, Miss Day. She is embroidering everything in the world. And also Stacey Crosby, you're out there in the social media stream. Thank you guys for continually tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Well, guys, are we moving in the Christmas spirit? I see Mark comes
I'm wearing
in.
My sweater. I got my green.
He's got green and red on.
Yeah, I'm all ready. I'm done decorating almost.
You're already done decorating.
Yes.
And it's funny because we're coming into the studio. It's Michigan cold outside.
I was outside in my T-shirt today, putting out the outside stuff. Man, come on.
In Michigan.
Yes,
That's what I said.
This dude is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But you just got back. He's coming in with this. You're darker now than you were in August when you were in Michigan. Now he's coming back with this amazing tent. Tell us about your trip before we get into it.
It was a great trip. We were 5 days up in right outside of Melbourne, just south of Cocoa Beach, which you told me is your favorite beach.
It's my favorite beach in Florida.
Yeah, we were there for about 5 days, and then we went down to Delray Beach, which is just north of Boca Raton, for 5 days.
Delray. So how was that?
We liked it a lot.
I'm sure you did. It's like Midland of Florida.
It's the weather was. I like the body surf. The waves up north were better because they're not blocked by the Bahamas. The water was clearer and more to Mary's taste.
Where?
Down in Delray.
Okay, in Delray.
It's a little warmer. It's way flatter. And so we were out looking at, we were trying to assess, might we want to live there during the winters is really kind of what
they're going to become snowbirds. That's where we can be. Yes.
Yeah.
So the decision is still out there.
Still percolating, but I'd say if we were to choose an area down there, it would be probably closer to Boca Raton.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not surprised, but hey, I threw my hat in the ring there because I was hoping he would go to Cocoa Beach and I would have someone to go visit when I go there.
We can drive up there. You can come down and visit. We'll drive up there.
Absolutely.
Not that far.
All right, so we're here and Christmas is in full swing. What about you? Does anybody do the Black Friday thing? I don't.
No, I despise it. Yeah.
Yeah, she said you despise it.
Yeah.
Despise is a strong word. So, Mark, when you say that you're ready for, people don't understand this that are listening. When you say that you're ready for the holiday and you're almost done decorating, most people put up a tree and maybe a couple bowls and some garland. But for you, this is a serious undertaking.
It is. As I've explained to you before, you've been to my house. Actually, I have wall art everywhere.
I have
a basement and 3 stories above that, and I have wall art everywhere. Almost all of the wall art gets flipped to Christmas theme wall art. As you know, I like to collect things. I've got a lot of shelves with knickknacks.
Christmas, was it Christmas Aglow in July? Was it
Christmas? Yeah. Yes.
That you went to,
yeah.
and
so
you found
all
some
of the
treasures.
Shelves get flipped. It takes a while to get ready for Christmas in my house.
I'm excited.
It's like a museum. It's a museum, really.
It is, and as a matter of fact, it was on. You actually were raising money for charity.
Yeah.
By showing your home.
Right. Yep. And I'm going to do it again next year. So like Mary's office, I've done it totally differently this year. I started from scratch. Her office is all nativity scenes. We've got a lot of nativity scenes. We got a lot of nativity art. And so it's really broken up into themes in different rooms. And so I'm pretty excited.
Mark is a Chris. He is old Chris Kringle.
Yeah.
He brings the holiday.
It brings
spirit.
joy to me. It brings joy to me to showing it.
What is it about this particular holiday that makes you so happy?
I don't know. I haven't done a lot. I haven't sat down and really analyzed it deeply. I've always loved Christmas. I think it was a big part of my grandparents' life. When I was really little, my mom ended up getting divorced. We lived with my grandparents for a couple of years. I think it was always a big part of that family's, and so it has always been a part of my life. It just brings me joy setting it up. And then people really generally appreciate it when they come in and look at it. And that brings me a lot of joy, too.
I think people are kind of like, this dude is something
crazy.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
What about, are you in the holiday season? What is it like for you, Jonathan?
Absolutely. I'm fully into the holiday spirit, but I celebrate. I don't put up the decorations. Our family has like a few decorations that are the staples. For instance, my grandparents made my mother a Peanuts themed, like Charlie Brown nativity scene. And it's like, each piece is like 3 to 4 feet tall, and
okay.
Wow.
It takes a lot of
out
assembly.
of what are they made? Wood?
It's out of wood, and it's very well painted, and it's stood the test of time.
Which character is baby Jesus?
I don't think there is a specific character that is baby Jesus.
It's
just
baby
they're
Jesus
standing
is
around.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I think that Christmas for me is a lot more personal. I have a highly curated list of music. Music is a big part of my life, and so
I was hoping you would bring us into All I Want for Christmas.
Nope, that is not on the list.
It's not on the list.
Be on the list.
What's your favorites? What's your favorites?
Trans-Siberian Orchestra,
Really interesting.
Mannheim Steamroller, and Lindsey Sterling. That's what I've
nothing that with actual singers and popular figures that we would know.
Those get like sprinkled in, like Bing Crosby Christmas is in there. But.
I'm a big James Brown Christmas album fan. I've got 3 or 4.
He's got a million albums too. Mark is a collector's collector.
My favorite carol of all is the Bing Crosby, David Bowie, Let There Be Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy duet. I love that.
For us, my thing, honestly, the holiday that I love is Thanksgiving. That's the holiday that I love, and so I'm glad that we're being able to recover and reclaim it back from the Black Friday. Everything starts on Thursday night thing. They're not really doing that so much anymore. So we're getting the holiday, Thanksgiving. And I think the reason is because sweet potato pie. And Thanksgiving was the day that the entire family would get together and we would all pull each other's names. So as a little kid, you'd have 50,000 relatives that are there. Pulling Christmas names.
So you only had to give to one relative.
That's
interesting. We do the exact same thing for our kids.
Yes.
We have it right after Thanksgiving dinner, so every kid doesn't have to give to every kid.
Yeah,
they pull one name.
Absolutely. Basically. You buy for your parents and one sibling.
Yeah.
So this is what we would do. There's a million of us out there, the Bowen clan, Prescott's and Richardsons and all of these different family members, and so we would all just kind of throw everyone's name in, which was a chore because you would always forget some kids when you got a million of them. And we would pull one name, and then each of us would buy a gift for that person. But that was it. And so it was recipes. We were going over, recipes. The women were in the kitchen cooking. The men were watching football or watching some movie. And we were doing taste tests. So it was like the time when you got your taste buds in correction. So that the reason I'm able to cook, mac and cheese and dressing and things now is because you had those taste opportunities and you saw those things happen. So it was a big family time for me. And so Christmas was much the same, but it was more about tearing things apart and just so many people in the home that you
is
just
it a free for all when you guys open presents, or is it one at a time?
No, no, it's not one at a time, because that would be forever. You got to think it was
free for all.
It's like you call a name, from my middle name is Jabbar, from Jabbar to Reggie, from Skip to, and so everyone's getting, there's papers flying everywhere and trash bags. And so
how about you, Jonathan? Is it one at a time and everyone watches?
Or one at a time, and it takes forever.
We're like that too.
It takes forever.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a holiday season. I'm excited. Mark is excited. Mark, we should auction off an invitation to your holiday party to some listener that's out there. But I'm excited because we're going to spend some time. I'm going to be a part of your holiday party this year, and it's a potluck, Mark. So explain to me what we're doing, because I don't do potlucks very often.
It's an open house, and what I do is I'll provide like the protein. So I'll probably go and get
the protein,
a ham and a turkey, and then I'll usually make a side or two as well.
Okay.
And then I might make one dessert, but then I ask if they can. They don't have to.
Right.
But every guest to bring either a side dish or dessert, whatever you want, whatever you.
This is where this is where it's a little bit different in Black America, because we ain't eating everybody's cooking. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now. So I no offense.
That's okay.
But we got to know who made it.
Well, I'm doing it easy this year. I'm getting a ham and a turkey from Honey Baked Ham.
Oh, that's fire. Right. So are we able to bring in, like?
By the way, Yulima is bringing flan.
Yulima is bringing
flan and tres leches.
We gotta let Mother Walker know.
You better bring some sweet potato pie for Mother Walker. Mother Walker, we'll steer you away from the flan.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, Mark, and please, I'm losing it. I think I'm passing out. I'm losing pressure in the chamber. Oh my gosh, Mark, why did you just say that right now? Okay, there's a long story here, and God praise.
The short story is, Mother Walker was at a cookout we had, and Yulima brought flan, which I love. I think you like flan.
Where is Yulima from? Explain where
she's from. Colombian. She's Colombian, from Bogota. And
beautiful woman, her and her husband,
Edgar and Yulima. But Mother Walker was not a fan of flan. I don't think Frank was either, to be honest.
And they sat at the table, John. They sat at the table, and Mary did a really good job on all of the sides, and you did a good job with the meat. And so it's dessert time, and so they've been talking about flan. I know what flan is. I love flan. And so we're sitting there, and the flan comes out, and my mom's like, "Ooh," and I could tell by the "ooh," like this is gonna be a challenge. Yeah. Like, this is not good. And so as they begin to cut it, I know that it's gonna be a problem, because one of the things that is really hard for my mother, it really is textures. And so, different textures she doesn't do very well with.
Like a firm pudding if someone does it.
Yeah. And she saw it jiggling. And I'm sitting there just waiting. I'm waiting to see how she's going to handle this moment. I wasn't thinking about Frank. Frank was the added bonus. Yeah. And so we're sitting there, and they start cutting, and Mom is just pushing it down the table. Just like, hey, oh no, just something little, a small piece. And she gave her a nice sized piece, and everyone's eating it. And Mom was like, "Oh, this is good." And I saw her put the first bite in her mouth, and I was trying to keep it together. I really was, because I was like, "This is not working." She was like, eyes brightened up real nice and bright. And then I looked over at Frank, who was sitting across the table for her, and he looked as though he had seen 12 deer run across the field all at the same time. But it was a great occasion. And it's just a cultural difference. And it's really something that you have to really have an acquired taste for. And if you don't have it, I just say, taste it, try it, and leave it alone. But it was interesting seeing how they made it through. My mom actually ended up eating all of hers.
Wow.
She ended up, she
didn't cover it with a napkin or something like that.
Frank covered his with a napkin, and it disappeared like magic. But anyways, it was a good time though. When we talk about Mark,
so the Black community doesn't have potlucks? Yeah. Is that a white thing?
Man,
I didn't know that.
You know what? If we do potlucks, and those that are in the stream, I be honest, let's share this with us. If we do a potluck, we know who we have assigned to cook. Okay, because one of the things that I hate is when you go somewhere like, who cooked this, who cooked. But if unsolicited food shows up at the family cookout, people are asking the question, who made this?
Okay.
Because you've seen pictures on Instagram with people cooking collard greens in tubs which is not the way that you get it done. You know, you don't put your bottom in something to clean it and then put food in there. So you don't know how people are using things to make things happen, but it's great. So we're glad that we're moving into this holiday season. I'm excited to spend some time with Mark and your family. We'll report out. Was this guy invited? Did you invite?
He's more than welcome. I was going to send it to him. I didn't have his email, but I thought how old are you, Jonathan?
24.
24-year-old who didn't know anybody there probably wouldn't want to come, but you're more than welcome to come.
I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll take the invitation.
I've got a very busy social schedule.
Sitting
excuse
us.
It's December 18th.
Well, the old heads will be chilling at Mark's, so we're excited about it. But anyway, so the United States is playing the Netherlands at this time. We'll have known by this time. Now? Is it right now?
No, I don't know. When is it? I don't care about soccer.
You don't care about soccer. Not that I care about soccer. I've got one team that I like with Manchester United. And that's kind of what it was.
It'll be tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow.
Yesterday.
It'll be yesterday on the other side. Yeah. But I was watching how the one goal that we scored to beat Iran to advance to this position. And I saw the guy that kicked the goal, what's his name, Christian something, but anyways, it looked like he might be out, and so he was like, I didn't get hit in the groin or anything. He just, your hips are supposed to keep the legs in certain directions, so he's going to be playing in the game that took place on yesterday when you listen to this. But it's going to be exciting. I mean, the fact that the U.S. is doing so well, they haven't done this well in years, and so it's a great time for America to celebrate. And to everyone else, you got to watch out. We are the Americans, and we're coming with the victory. Georgia Senate runoff. We're going to talk. Boy. Today's show is really going to be a hodgepodge of current events. We're going to do hot topics. We did this a couple of months ago or whatever, and I think that this is good. Now, this is why I want to have this conversation, Mark, about Warnock versus Walker. What's taking place in Georgia. And I know Mark loves to talk about politics right now. The runoff election in Georgia and I think Alabama are only two states that have this runoff election thing taking place. It's going to play December 6th. But what's amazing is there have been they've been breaking a record every day with the number of early voters.
Yep.
What do you guys think about that?
I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I mean, really, obviously,
that doesn't get you excited to see people participating in.
Yeah, and in that sense, it does. I mean, again, I haven't followed this one very closely. I mean, Herschel Walker, wow, and it's very. I mean, it's become,
Mark. Yeah. You can't throw them at me back to back. I got to have some time to breathe and recover.
I mean, neither of these guys is really that impressive, to be honest, and. I don't know.
I think I would care more. To your point, I think I would care more if one person was very standout. The thing that is making this whole thing stand out is the fact that it's a runoff. And yeah, there was a little bit of controversy going into it, but nothing. I'm not overly impressed by either candidate.
Have we ever talked about personal attack? The whole thing is personal attacks. That this guy is against abortion, but he's paid for abortions. This guy's supposedly a pastor, but he's screwing people financially. Oops, I'm probably not supposed to say that on the air, but taking advantage of people financially.
Was that? I didn't hear that one. I heard that he had some issues with his ex-wife or something.
Warnock?
Yeah.
No, I think he had some real. He's basically tossing people out, underprivileged people out of real estate.
I hadn't heard that. Okay.
Well, maybe he's not the one, but yeah. But it's basically been a series of personal attacks.
All right. Well, have we talked about why there is a runoff system? And that's really
neither of them got 50% of the vote, is my understanding.
But do we understand where that comes from? And that was one of the key things that I thought was interesting about this process. When we talk, you hear a lot about systemic racism, and this is a great example of where this yet exists. In Georgia, during the time when blacks were receiving the right to vote. So more blacks are beginning to vote. They're increasing their vote in the population. And now you have this whole new, and I hate to use this term, but block of voters that are now being introduced into this election process. So they started having candidates that were running that were black, and if they got too close or if there was a tie, they came up with this: you have to win by 50% or more, because there was such a large population of blacks who were then voting. So you had to win by 50% of the vote plus one. And so, or you would go into an automatic runoff. And so the runoff would then allow the other white candidates and everyone in the community to coalesce around this white candidate to ensure that they would not have black representation in their political landscape. And the individual, I can't remember his name at the time, that came up with it. And if you're going to Google that for me, thank you. He noted that the reason that this was this way was because it was meant to be racist, and it was intentional to keep blacks out of politics in Georgia. Yeah. Are you looking? Who'd you come up with?
Is it W.R. Ware?
That sounds correct.
Okay.
And so, they later talked to him. He said, yeah, that was my intention. And so that particular system is an example of the types of systems that still linger around, that are archaic in nature, that need to be changed. But
that being said, though, I mean, philosophically, should anyone win if they've got less than half the vote? I mean, there are other places where you have to have a majority.
Well, I mean, when you're looking at 50.3% and 50.2%,
well, that's 100 points.
Oh, I know. I mean, Mark, stop it. 49.6 and whatever the other,
right.
That kind of thing. And so that's kind of how the system was set up. So it's not by the number of votes. So you can't win by 10 votes, or you can't win by 35, 1,000 votes. You have to make sure that it's like a clear 50% of the votes. And so it's just interesting, an interesting fact that I think that we take a look at. I got to ask this question, Mark, and I know that we got two and a half minutes. I think it's good because now we can't talk about it more than that. Will number 45 be charged with a crime, or all of this to do about nothing?
I don't think he will be, but I think with each passing day, he becomes more and more of an afterthought and kind of pushed to the fringe of the political universe.
Is this the reason why? I think, this is my personal thought, I think the Republicans are actually saying this is our only way to get rid of this guy at this point. So let's create some things, and let's go back in. We're going to testify. We're going to put some things out there. We need a change in leadership. And maybe this is the way. If we can muck this guy up a bit, and he no longer is able to run, then he doesn't become a problem. We can keep his base because it wasn't us that did this.
I mean, the question becomes, will they keep his base, or will you'll see another kind of Trump-like person kind of trying to fill the void?
What are you thinking? I see your eyes talking to me, John, but you're not saying nothing.
He's not going to get charged with a crime, and even if he does get pushed completely out, he's going to take down the Republican Party with him.
So you think he is like, this is D-Day?
Yeah. Even if he does somehow get pushed out, he's going to do a lot of damage on his way out. And frankly,
you don't think that they might use the leverage of charges against him to get him to walk away quietly?
No,
his ego is too big. He's too much of a narcissist.
If
he's a pathological narcissist.
But if taxes becomes the issue, and if you remember, I think it was, what's the guy's name from alt-right?
He's just going to claim it's all lies.
Yeah, but what's the guys from alt-right? What's his name? The person that was on this campaign. Why can I not remember his name?
Pence?
No, big hair. He's a radio
Steve
person.
Bannon?
Steve Bannon said a long time ago that if they follow the money trail, they'll get to where the real issues are. And that was when they had their little riff and they weren't talking to each other and weren't inviting each other to the tea parties. But now, I think as we see this, I could really see a situation in which there would be some issues with tax, or maybe some monuments. What's it called? The monuments that were received, gifts that were received that should not have been. And they use that as leverage. Like, look, you just leave Washington and we'll let the charges go away.
I don't think he'll do it.
You don't think he'll do it? What about you, John? No. All right. Well, maybe you guys are right. But I think the one thing I've seen Donald Trump do is to know when it's time to fold them. We're talking United Shades of Gray. We're going to be right back with more hot topics on today. Stick and stay. Don't go away.
You're listening to United Shades of Gray on WSGW.
This is Kareem Bowen, and you're tuned into United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America. You know that we are back from our break, but there's no way we can have a conversation about hot topics without talking about your favorite loony person. I don't want to say that. But dude has some issues. Ye is once again. You
his
talked
friends
about
really need to step in. Honestly, in all seriousness, his friends and family really need to
say what you said again.
His friends and his family really need to step in.
Who would that be?
I don't know.
So, since our last conversation about this man, more about his story has kind of crossed my purview about people who probably should know. And it sounds like his friends are the problem. It sounds like he's being steered and manipulated and puppeted into doing
crazy stuff.
I don't think so.
Into accelerating this descent.
I don't think so. No, I think because you guys, what we have to realize about the situation with Ye, because we're gonna call him Ye, that's his new government name, is that Ye, before he was assaulting Jews, he was assaulting black people. Now, the interesting thing about it is that while he was assaulting black people, nobody thought that it was racist, the things that he was doing, and it wasn't problematic. And I guess maybe they say just because he's black, he can be racist.
That's an interesting philosophical discussion.
Yeah, but that's exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, hey, slavery was a choice. And this is why black folks are not running to his rescue, because you cannot, agonize at agony to the pain that we experience, our trauma. And then when things don't go right and you pick a fight with the wrong people, come back and then ask those same people to support you because look at me, they're doing me wrong. Well, you know what? While you were making billions of dollars with those companies and really focusing on centralizing and agonizing the pain, historic pain of blacks in the world, you were making billions of dollars. And so now that you have ticked off the wrong person and had the wrong conversation, you don't get to come back and then say, hey, nobody's standing up with me.
Supporting me.
So he isolated his friends in his descent or his ascent to the top. There's that phrasing that saying that we always say, you got to be careful how you treat people on your way up.
He has no friends in the music community anymore.
I'm sure he has people that would consider him friend, but when you isolate when you say things like slavery was a choice, you go isolate a lot of black people, and that's where the black community was. What are you saying, John?
I'm not saying that his friends that he abandoned. I'm saying he's gotten new people around him, people surrounding him that are driving this descent.
How'd they get there? They got there when he decided to jump on the Kardashian bandwagon and all of.
He opened the door.
Yeah,
but I think that they are accelerating this to be a fiery crash.
I think that this is the mark of the Kardashians, not the mark of the beast, the mark of the Kardashians. Every black man that has ever graced that family's presence, ask OJ. No, just joking. But every black man that has ever gone through that family has ended in some type of turmoil. And so, I mean, I Kanye got me with it. I hate to see anybody unravel like this in public. I don't take pleasure in it. It is a sad thing. But this new thing, and this is what I want to talk about. So Elon Musk, who thinks he is the great communicator, he knows how to solve the war in Ukraine and everything.
Solve everything.
Yeah. So he buys Twitter because it's one of the greatest public traded companies, and he's going to save Twitter, and that's yet to be seen. But his thing was he's going to bring Ye back. So he restored Ye's Twitter feed. And there was a number of tweets that Kanye was making. He was like, regarding he was on the show with Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes.
Yeah,
and so
InfoWars.
Right, who's also banned.
Yeah,
he allows Alex Jones to tweet on the show. He takes a picture of him tweeting from Kanye's Twitter account, which is like this guy's banned. You just got unbanned. You're letting someone use your Twitter account. They had this conversation, and Kanye makes this statement that there were some good things about Hitler. And I was just offended about that as the other president that was saying, there's some good people and bad people, with the skinheads of them, that are here. It's just crazy. This is crazy conversation. And this is where I think censorship has to find a place to to some degree. I believe that we should have the right to say the things that we would, but when you capitalize and you continually abuse people who have been traumatized with pain, I don't agree with it. And I think that that's where everyone should be in the world. So anyways, he tried to talk him through, we should turn the other cheek. Yes, to Christian. But then the dude posts a picture of a swastika that was enveloped inside the Star of David. And I think that was there's no containing this madness. And so once again, Ye is banned from this platform that we all call and know as Twitter. Don't know
Does
how
he
long...
have any family left? I mean, I know his mom passed away quite a while ago. Does he have siblings?
I'm not sure. And I know that his dad was present. I'm not sure what those relationships are like. When you do some of the things that he's done, you isolate yourself.
Yeah,
in a really bad way.
At some point, if you have like a family, you would approach the authorities about this guy. He's not capable of making good decisions on his own. He needs to be looked at professionally.
Go ahead.
There were text messages between him and I think it's his therapist, his psychiatrist, something like that, where the psychiatrist threatens him and his access to his children, saying, okay, either you and I are going to sit down and we're going to talk through this, and you're not going to bring your friends that push these conspiracies and we're going to talk real logic, or I'm going to have you thrown back into a padded room and drugged up like you were before, and playtime with kids isn't going to be the same.
See, I don't agree with that either.
No, me neither.
There's some people up in the hillbillies, and we got some people that you need to pay attention to in our stream. We got some hillbillies in Kentucky. They're teaching their children crazy stuff. Not necessarily Kentucky. Nothing against Kentucky. I'm just saying there are people in these remote places that are teaching crazy stuff to their kids. And they don't take their kids away. So I don't think that's the answer.
Well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You can't be aware of every. This one is pretty visible, pretty public, pretty obvious.
This is crazy. I think there's a meltdown that's there that somebody needs to get it. I'm done with Ye. We're done with Ye. I think it was there to talk about. What are we talking? China is on lockdown. Are they ever going to? I mean, when you got so many billions of people,
zero tolerance. I mean, it's just crazy.
This is crazy. People are fighting in China because they're like, listen, we can't be locked down anymore. And why hasn't China learned from the other countries that have done lockdowns on the severity of the psyche, the mental, emotional toll that it takes on people, and kind of just incorporated some of it? Is it just because they just aren't listening?
They don't care.
They don't. Yeah, the Chinese government generally does not care about people.
Could you do another lockdown? Let's say COVID comes out with this new variant that makes your eyeballs bust out of your head. Could you do another lockdown period?
I think the consequences of the disease would have to be pretty severe, and a pretty severe with a pretty high transmission and infection rate. Like it was before, I don't think you could, frankly. I think you'd have to.
People would have to be dropping dead down the street.
It would have to be like the Andromeda strain.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the thing that pushed the lockdowns to begin with was we didn't know.
No,
and uncertainty. Yeah.
So at that point, I'm okay with it. But at some point,
and then it went
statistics became pretty clear that a pretty small segment of the population was most
Mark,
at risk.
I hate when you say that.
Why
Don't
is that?
say a pretty small segment of the population.
It was a pretty small segment of the population.
There's 1 million people that are dead.
I understand that, but you impact hundreds of other millions of people.
You impact the people who are not at high risk factors. You say, nope, you've got to stay locked up.
Kids. What was the impact on all the kids? And
And I'm for that because I'm dealing with some of those after effects of what happens when we were just talking about this before the show. How the after, we don't know. But I'll tell you that it just appeared, and that is one of the things that's very different because I know in my community, there were funerals and people dying. I was burying people. I have no idea who there were because there weren't enough places or pastors to actually do the ceremonies because, I mean, it was just an emotional wreck and turmoil for us. So that is one of the areas that was really different. I don't think I could do another lockdown the way that we did. So God, I pray that nothing comes. Roderick McCullough, who's listening, says only one enforced by military at this point. So it was really different, a different thing. I don't think I could do it, but we're moving forward. This is interesting now. We don't have enough time. I think we could probably take the rest of the time to have this because I'm frustrated with this for a number of reasons, but I'm going to just talk about this. J-Lo reveals to Time magazine that she has been asked to do a tribute for Whitney Houston.
J-Lo
during the 2023 Grammys, which takes place about February or so.
She's got what, a vocal
hold on. She said, because I got to get her words out there. Yeah. She says she thinks that her songs fit her vocal range very well, so she's going to sing "I Have Nothing" and "I Will Always Love You." Okay, Mark, what do you say?
I think they could choose someone better to do it to honor Whitney Houston, someone who has more of a range like that. I mean, there are a lot of great singers out there. J-Lo is obviously very popular. I don't consider her a great singer, but who am I? So
she's pop at best, because I don't like using the term hip hop. She is a hip hop artist because of the people that she worked with.
Well, Puff Daddy,
Ja Rule and Puff Daddy.
Yeah,
but she's a pop.
Really,
she's not hip hop.
But Whitney was a pop singer.
But Whitney was a pop singer, but with strands of R&B, which made her. She kind of crossed an unbelievable
voice. Obviously,
she crossed those genres.
Yep.
And Roderick, because I'm with you. No, I was like J-Lo. But let me tell you what makes me mad about this is who are the Grammys people that are putting
who's making that decision?
This madness. You know, there's a whole culture thing that's going on. Somebody said they said I agree with Mark. There's a whole culture thing that's going on because, you know, in terms of, you know, Nicki Minaj was put in a pop category when she has a sample of music that comes from someone else who's in the hip hop category. When I think Nicki Minaj, she is pop hip hop. She crosses both genres. That's a whole nother situation. But the thing that makes me mad about this situation is that of all of the talented people, when you look at Tamia, and Tamia is Grant Hill, who plays basketball. Grant Hill, former basketball player for
Duke player.
Yep. Okay. His wife Tamia, phenomenal voice. She can hit every note that Whitney has ever hit. Then you think of people who idolize her, such as Fantasia Barrino, Jennifer Hudson, who can probably hit.
Fantasia was the one from American Idol.
She's
still out there.
She's out there strong, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's doing it. She's making it happen.
She had a great voice.
She was able to just kind of reinvent herself
because
and
I thought
get back to her roots. She had some emotional things, but you know, Simon Cowell, which I think he's great in what he does. He kind of stepped in and kind of righted the course, so she didn't become a Kanye. But she's doing it phenomenally well. I saw her in concert a few years ago. She was absolutely phenomenal. But you got all of these iconic singers. You know, Alicia Keys, she's not necessarily a Whitney-esque.
No, she's not a singer.
But she's an artist. Okay, she's not the best singer, but there's so many singers. I'm thinking that could have done this. And I'm thinking about the rich singers. I'm looking at Jasmine Sullivan. Chrisette Michele, and they pick a Latino woman who has, you know, limited talent.
I think this is about ratings when it's all said and done.
No, but at the end of the day, it's gonna. If someone does a phenomenal job, that'll get them. The fact that they're doing a tribute, it's gonna do what they're gonna get a lot of ratings, and she's gonna get dragged, like a dirty teddy bear by a child. I don't know that
she cares. I don't know what kind of payday it is, but I think if you're the Grammys, people, you know, she's a common name for the common audience.
But I don't want her. To me,
I don't either. But I'm just that would be the logic.
I want to scream cultural appropriation all over again. Let somebody who's got that church gospel sound sing the song. Who's going to do it well? And J-Lo, unfortunately,
it's not you.
From the block, go back to that block because you're not it. And so it's going to be interesting. Am I going to watch? Absolutely, because she's going to become the fodder for so many memes. It's going to be crazy. But that's my story. I'm done with it. Now, what I do want to talk about in these final minutes of our conversation, if this is all we get to, is there was recently on Today, they released, this was just hours ago, they released body footage of body cams from police officers in Raleigh, North Carolina, of a 15-year-old boy who went on a shooting spree. And what was the name of the town?
Raleigh, looks like.
Yeah, Raleigh. And Raleigh. So he's in this neighborhood and he starts shooting. He shoots 7 people, kills 5 people. And I want to make sure that we mention their names because whenever people lose their life, I want to make sure that they're remembered. Off-duty officer Gabriel Torres, who was 29, James Thompson, who's 16, was the older brother of this gunman. Mary Marshall, 34, Nicole Connors, 52, and Susan Carnitz, who was 49. Shoot 7 people. 5 of these people are murdered. The kid is 15. He uses a shotgun and some other things. But they showed the video, the standoff, and they used police dogs to try to find out where he was. From the time the 911 call started until the time they were able to catch this kid was 4.5 hours. The dogs you see in this camera, the dogs leading to where he is, and he's stand out in this like an outbuilding, and it looked to me like a cabin almost that was in the back of a subdivision. And the firepower that was going back and forth was absolutely crazy. I was like, this is baby Beirut. The kid ends up being arrested. He has a serious wound to the head and his knee. They shot him in the knee. You hear them saying that someone was one of the cops were trying to put a tourniquet on it. And I saw this and I was like, wow, when did this take place? I'm like, this was way back in October. Like,
I don't even remember this.
You didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
But 7 weeks ago in October, this takes place. Now, I wanted to bring this up because this is another example of how there is a difference in how people are handled and how we respond, how police officers respond to cases. Because I can almost guarantee you, had this been Jamal Walker, a young black kid, I don't think that he would be able to stand trial. So he's recovering. They're waiting for the knee to get done so he can stand trial for the cases and the things that are happening. What are you guys' thoughts about this? This is horrific. My heart and prayers go out for the individuals that are out there that have lost loved ones to this nonsensical violence. It brings up 2 things. First of all, guns in the hands of young people, and then the effect of another young white kid who lives to be able to stand trial when so many black kids have been killed in similar situations. Less than this. So what are your thoughts when you hear these types of things? Does this further drive home a need for a change in perception and how we do things? Because I sincerely think that police officers, and it may be an unconscious bias, respond differently when the perpetrator is a person of color.
Well, I don't have anything to say on that in the sense that I've just now seen this. I haven't seen the video footage. I mean, the kid got shot, so yeah, it sounds like it was a pretty intense shootout.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and so I mean, he could have gotten killed. He didn't.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's dangerous when you pick out one case here and another case there and start drawing.
Well, we can pull, my thing is we can pull them all out. I would love to pull all of the cases out and see the listing of the times of when these situations have turned deadly, when it's been young African-American or Hispanic, Latino kids, Latinx, young men or women. And when we've seen.
Sure. I just don't know that this kid was treated differently because he was white. And it sounds like, and again, I haven't seen the footage, that there was, at least according to you, a lot of gunfire, and absolutely. He got shot in the head, it looks like, and got shot in the knee, so he clearly could have been killed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And but I'm saying the shot to the I don't know if he got shot in the head. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I know that he was shot in the knee. I know that he had a head wound. I'm not sure what that head wound was from, but I do know that he was shot in the knee. And that's never been a placement of a bullet for young African-American men who end up with their blood curdled in the street. They often are shot in lethal positions. And I'm just saying this, and once again, we'll continually see this happening. And every time I see a young white kid and a young black kid have these, I'm going to bring them up. And if the situation is that it's handled in an appropriate manner, like there was a situation that happened in Texas, and we were applauding the police for being able to handle the situation in a manner in which I think that the young kid was able to survive, but they were able to apprehend him because they did things in a very correct way. I will be the first to applaud when I see things that are done in a manner consistent with how I think protecting and serving looks. But I'm also going to continually call out and those situations in which we see these things where they don't. Roderick McCullough in the social streams as police are shooting and killing people, period. It's more pervasive towards people of color. It is a police problem. And Roderick, I would begin to agree with you. Absolutely. They are killing people, period. And I didn't, you know what I didn't talk about? And this before I'll get there in just a second. But it is pervasively a problem with folks of color that we're ending up on the dead end of the bullet. Instead of being able to be rehabilitated or taken to the hospital and being able to see another day.
I think the big thing here, again, it's common to all of these, is just we've got an issue with gun violence. I have no solutions or answers. Nobody seems to. The ability to get guns.
Mark, you have absolutely no affinity for guns whatsoever, do you?
No, and I've got two sons. I have a son who's becoming a gunsmith. Two sons that are huge gun people. They love guns. They build guns.
He's play with guns.
Yeah,
they play with guns. They're adults.
Yeah. And they scare me. I don't want to touch them. They want me to go shooting with them to the range, and I don't even want to do that.
Mark.
Yeah.
What about you, John? How do you feel about guns? I mean, where are you at with guns?
I'm comfortable around guns.
Have you used them? Because you're out in the country, so it's kind of a normal thing.
Yeah. I owned a gun. It was one of my my grandpa gave me a 22 when I was young. I never really shot it, never really got into guns until I do it recreationally. If I'm invited out to the range to shoot, heck yeah, I'll go out. It's a lot of fun. And I think that it's a useful skill to have, to be able to use guns responsibly.
Yep.
I've considered getting a concealed pistol license. I'm still considering getting a concealed pistol license, but
I think you should. I think that
you have a concealed carry permit.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what kind of handgun are you carrying?
A 357.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a Smith & Wesson 350. Okay. It's pretty. 38 special. I love it. Yeah. I use it. I go to the gun range when I get the opportunity to.
Where do you go?
We go to Duncan's here. We'll also go out onto the Bawasi. But I mean, I where do I go? Every places. I like to go to places. When we were in Arizona, I would go there quite often. Not for or against former military. I got you, Rod. He's saying that he's former military. He's not for or against. But I'll tell you, I love going to gun ranges in places like Texas,
Las
and
Vegas,
Honolulu. Oh my!
The wide array of weapons
where you have the ability to shoot everything.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I told you, the hand cannon experience. I enjoy it. I do. I like you say, we have the stapler here. You put a gun on the table. It's a gun on the table. No one dies. It's until you put the gun in the wrong hands that it becomes a problem. So I definitely believe that there is a need for some guns and some control on which guns are sold and who they're being sold to. I think that's necessary. But I think that when we use them, they can be great fun at the same time. I got another one that I bought. It is a Mossberg. It's the in between a shotgun and a pistol. It is a lot of fun. Mark, you would love that gun. But I think that it's something that we have to begin to think about. I never think that banning anything is always the answer. So I'm not a gun ban person. I'm a thinker of the fact that there is a need for some things to change. Mark, couple minutes here. What's going on with you this week? You're getting on another bird.
I'm getting on the plane, going to California.
Going to California. So once again, on next week when you guys tune in, it'll be myself and the producer, John B. I certainly want to thank all of you that are in the social stream out there for sharing this. Let's tag, and share this conversation with other individuals. To all of our folks down in Joliet, Illinois, we certainly thank you for your continued listenership. We know that your guy, Kanye, he is a Chicago brand. And so, I love people and their creativity. I love him as a creative artist. I wish that there were someone that could speak truth to him. My fear is that we'll wake up one day and there'll be a story about another man slain in the street, taken by his own will and power. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Until next week, God bless you all. Grace and peace.